welcome everyone to the ASI Engagement Series. It's the very first of its kind, and we are starting with a Getting to Know ASI webinar. Today, we will briefly introduce you who we are as ASI, what is our role and purpose. We will also give a brief overview of the services that we deliver to scheme owners. And we'll briefly show you how you can get engaged with us. It's very important for us to be connected to stakeholders and clients for us to understand the overall environment well. I have here an overview of how the ASI systems work. You have to the right the scheme owner, the standard setter. As ASI, we work with leading certification systems in the sustainability sector, and we work with scheme owners that have a global reach and impact. And there is a direct connection between ASI and the scheme owner through contractual arrangements where we have mutual obligations. The scheme owner has a specific role to set clear rules that can be embedded in practice, realized in practice through the certificate holders. So these are the companies which produce a product or which trade it, pass it on along the supply chain. Those certificate holders are certified by certification bodies, or we call them conformity assessment bodies. At the moment, we have 78 conformity assessment bodies that we work with, and those bodies have more than 4,000 auditors. We also call them CABs in short, or CBs, standing for certification bodies. So when I speak about a CAB later on, I mean conformity assessment body. And they normally do annual audits of the certificate holder, and those CABs are responsible for the certification decisions. ASI's role is to directly oversee those CABs. So we accredit them or approve them through different means. I'll go in detail about that in a few minutes. ASI has, as I said, a direct oversight of the CABs, but we do not take any certification decisions. So our link to certificate holders is indirect. We do not raise findings against certificate holders or take any certification decisions. This is really the responsibility of the CABs. Then a very important role in the whole ecosystem rests with rights holders, stakeholders. We also have a connection to them, sometimes reaching out to local communities, indigenous people, to see how they are doing in practice, whether they face any challenges or whether there is any intelligence, insights that we can use for our oversight. And the whole aim of ASI's operating model is to function as the central oversight body globally for the scheme owners to ensure a rigorous and balanced implementation of standards. And we do so through connecting all parties and collecting data, information on risks, for example, from rights holders, stakeholders, but also data points from certificate holders, and of course, performance data of CABs. And we consolidate this information, feed it back to the scheme owner to share insights, learnings, maybe also giving them feedback on the auditability of standards or any gaps that need further calibration or clarification. And these linkages, they generate transparency and insights, but in the end also trust. So this is a whole system defined to ensure that claims are credible, also towards the public, the consumers, the governments. If they see a label that ASI oversees, there should be a distinctive level of trust into those labels. I would like to highlight that ASI is different in a sense that we really directly work with the scheme owner. So our client is the scheme owner. This distinguishes us from other accreditation bodies who might have the conformity assessment body as a client, but our client is really the scheme owner. And this is also reflected in our statements, vision, mission, purpose statements. Our vision is a world where sustainability claims are trustworthy. And therefore, it's our mission to safeguard the credibility of those initiatives through providing a range of solutions, which we call assurance services. The key point here, it's our ambition and purpose to enable and distinguish the scheme owners, those scheme owners that drive a positive impact for the people and the planet. Let me give a brief overview of our history. So indeed, ASI turns 20, and yeah, it's been a long journey in that sense. We have been founded in 2006 as a spin-off of the FSC. We have been founded originally as FSC's accreditation body. And of course, we still have roots to this origin. And FSC still today is our biggest and, in that sense, most important client that we have. Since then, we have established new partnerships. More than 15 years ago, we started collaborations with a range of scheme owners in the fisheries industry. It's MSC, Marine Stewardship Council, in the palm oil industry, RSPO, aquaculture, ASC. Then protected areas, that's IUCN collaboration, and further schemes, for example, in the biomass, biofuel sector, RSB, and tourism, GSTC. And back in those years, we also achieved full ISIL membership. And that is one of the first pillars of independence or external scrutiny that I would like to mention. So ASI is fully ISIL code compliant, and that means that we are subject to recurrent, I think every 3 years, we are subject to an external audit through ISIL. If there are any deviations from the code, of course, we have to address those. But for more than 10 years, we are a full ISIL member. Then in the past 10 years, we really focused on an innovation agenda. The world has changed considerably, of course, over the past 10 years for various reasons. First of all, we started collaboration with new sectors, new schemes like RJC, that's the Responsible Jewelry Council, SBP, Sustainable Biomass Program. We also launched the collaboration with national accreditation bodies, foremost in Europe. So we have for many years now agreements in place with the German accreditation body DAX, Accredia in Italy, and UCAS in the UK. And these agreements ensure that the scheme owners we work with have a range of options to delivering accreditation in light of a regulation, for example. So Europe is a highly regulated market, and we have innovated our service delivery through the collaboration with national entities. We also went through a rebranding, ensuring that we go beyond offering traditional accreditation. So for many years now, we try to offer services going beyond accreditation, having stronger risk-based approaches, integrity work, also having training services and advisory services to scheme owners. We then also expanded our global reach through founding an office in Malaysia. The last 5 years were driven by our theme of intelligent assurance. So we really focus our day-to-day work now on data, evidence-based approach to our services, gathering information at scale, and also using technology. For example, we do a bigger chunk of our assessments now remotely, but supported through technology like remote sensing. Also, AI plays a role. We have, of course, an initiative to make ethical, good use of AI. And we are also providing guidance to scheme owners and cabs on competence requirements, for example, in the use of AI. Then we also founded ASI North America, which is our accreditation body. It's an associate member in the International Accreditation Forum. Here, a brief overview of who we are today. You can see on this world map the red dots. This is where our assessors are based. So in some countries, we have several assessors. The red dots do not mean that we have only one assessor, for example, in a country. It could be more than one. And the black dots represent our offices. The main office is in Bonn, Germany. It's ASI head office. Then we have in the US our international accreditation body, our regional office in Malaysia. And yeah, today we have over 100 team members across 35 countries. So indeed, ASI is a global organization serving a variety of clients, scheme owners in the forestry, fisheries sector, aquaculture, agriculture. But yeah, also with a focus on workers' rights, human rights, and a clearly risk-based approach. Beyond the public, beyond ISEAL, of course, we have our own governance structure. So we have an independent supervisory board composed of several members from a diverse background, and they advise us on our strategic direction, goal setting, and yeah, they steer the organizational structure and strategy. We have an impartiality committee, which consists of external experts representing the main interests that relate to ASI. So we have representatives from the general public, from scheme owners, for example, also from the industry. And this committee is strictly separated from any decision making, like accreditation decision making, to really demonstrate and ensure objectivity. If there are any risks arising in terms of impartiality, it is this committee that reviews the risks and guides us what to do, what not to do. It's not our individual assessors or managers who take decisions of accreditation for conformity assessment bodies for the CABs, but it is an independent committee. Again, 6 people with diverse backgrounds, lots of expertise in ISO accreditation, in certification activities. And it's this committee that grants, renews, reduces the scope of CABs. Last but not least, in this section, we strive for further partnerships, recognitions, and memberships. So generally, ASI runs a system that is ISO 17011 compliant. This standard is the standard that sets the requirements for accreditation bodies. And our internal audits, external audits also prove conformance. We are, as I mentioned, an associate member of the IAF, of the Asia Pacific Accreditation Corporation. We are striving for full membership, which would give us additional recognition. We partner with national accreditation bodies, also, leaning into their work and vice versa, learning from each other, sharing resources. And as I mentioned, we're an ISIL member. I've now spoken about our history, who we are today. Now let's move on to the services that we deliver. So we deliver traditional oversight of CABs, accreditation, for example, through our global accreditation body, ASI North America. This oversight really is meant to oversee and ensure the competence and impartiality of certification bodies, CABs. And we do so through applying a high intensity of sampling, a high sampling level, but also a suite of assessment types. Could be announced, unannounced assessments that we witness the audit team or that we go right after a certificate was issued, that we go there again as ASI and do a compliance assessment. And then we take the audit checklist that the certifier used a month earlier, and we take the audit report and we try to, or we match it with the reality. And this allows us to establish a level of confidence into the certified product. Oversight is our main service line, but a traditional service line. And we also realized that we need to do more to ensure credible claims and continuous improvement. And we have further services that really allow us to support scheme owners to distinguish themselves and allow us to enable their ambitions further. And one of them is advisory, where we have a team of experts that collaborates with scheme owners at various stages in terms of standard setting, ensuring that their standards are compliant with ISO requirements, for example, or best practices from a voluntary sustainability standard perspective, or compliant with ISEAL requirements. We see that that really has an impact and helps our clients to advance further in, for example, in the clarity of standard setting, but also in the recognition externally facing. I mentioned that we have a risk-based approach, and this is really enabled through a dedicated integrity team, a team of experts that monitors supply chains, also maps, doing remote sensing, stakeholder engagement, like surveys or individual consultations. And the aim there is to collect data, appraise information related to risk, and to guide our oversight so that it's targeted and impactful. And the last service line and the newest one is training, where we offer training and e-learnings mainly to scheme owners, again on ISO requirements, also social auditing like FPIC, free prior informed consent in relation to local communities, indigenous people. This is a very recent training that we deliver. And I think that training service really fosters the general development of the whole system. In everything we do, we really try to customize the solutions to our partners and clients. I've mentioned the risk-based approach, where we collect data from media, maps, audit reports. Like regularly we scan at scale certification audit reports and gather data on individual auditors, on the trends in non-conformities per requirement, per area, per scope, and so on, for us to have a better understanding of potential weaknesses or calibration gaps. We also collect incidents. Incidents could be any kind of observation or allegation brought to us in an informal manner or identified by us in the media. And we use this information. We have thousands of data points to guide our risk-based approach. With any information that we get, any incident, we have a clear process to appraise and score an incident and to guide our action, or to connect to the certifiers or scheme owners to request or ask for their support. Engagement, such as today, is critical. So we strongly align with scheme owners in regular meetings on a daily or weekly, monthly basis, doing regular stakeholder consultations prior to our assessments. For example, before we go to a forest or to a farm, we normally consult with local stakeholders, communities, workers, or we do so during the assessment. And I'd also like to mention the certifiers, the CABs, that they are our implementation partners. They are not our client, but they are key nodes in the overall system, and they are critical to implement the intent of the standard. If the cab is competent, impartial, then they will contribute to a large extent to the success of the scheme owner. This is why we call them implementation partners, and this is why we also provide a lot of feedback to them, where they stand on a benchmark compared to other cabs, where they are strong or where they need to improve. So we have regular reporting, also summarized in an annual performance report for every individual cab. We have specialized resources like audit teams, of course, but a network of assessors and local experts. So I've mentioned a team of 100, but if we extend our view to the local experts that we have, from a translator to a legal expert, we talk about a network of hundreds of people across the globe for different commodities and themes to help us provide solutions. And diverse toolbox. So traditionally, doing an accreditation assessment means an office assessment and a witness, like witnessing an audit team in the field. We have a range of other solutions. I mentioned compliance, but we also do unannounced assessments or remote office, remote witness assessments. And where possible, we also use technology to augment our work. So all of that means 20 years of experience, if you like. I'd like to give a brief overview of the clients we have. It's a snapshot, it's not all. We work with a diverse range of organizations, standard setters, also intergovernmental bodies, NGOs, initiatives who really want to make an impact for forestry, agriculture, textiles, and so on. I'd like to highlight the 5 schemes to the left. These are the biggest clients that we work with: FSC, RSPO, MSC, ASC, and Responsible Jewelry Council. So the range of services that I've just shared is offered to those 5 clients in full. For all other clients you see here, we have a selected range of services. In the last year, we have supported 20 plus systems and scheme owners. So how can you get engaged? We've only given an overview of our services. And as I said at the beginning, this is a series of engagement webinars. Today is focused on who we are, what we do, or what are our services. The next webinar will really be focused on what we do. How are our services delivered? How do they look like? And the third webinar will be getting engaged. So we want to get engaged with you. I've mentioned the incident handling process, but this is one way for you to get engaged with us. So you can click or scan the QR code here. You will land on a web page where you can share an observation with us or an allegation. If you see something questionable today or in the future, please share it with us. It helps us and the whole system to improve. And if you have something really confidential where you do not want anybody, also not ASI, to know about your name, where you want to stay fully anonymous, but where you have a critical observation, you can use our whistleblower channel. It's available in 70 languages. It's based on the Global Leaks platform, so it's truly confidential. Nobody will know who has reported that. And as I stated before, with every information we get, we will do our best to appraise it, following a set protocol, and to take the right action. Some of the information may have no response, while other of information that we get may lead to immediate intervention. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Here you can see contact information. Please feel free to reach out. Have a good day, evening, and hope to see you soon.